Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Chauskas. Today's the 19th of June 2018, so welcome everyone guys. Hope you're having a very good day, very good trading day. So before we start looking at the charts, let's quickly go through our risk disclaimer. So the content of this webinar does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Also, a very quick reminder of our JFD Brokers research page here, where you can go in and have a look at different analysis that we do on a daily basis. We throw out different trading shoutouts, and of course, our daily analysis that we produce every morning. So, yep, feel free to check us out, guys. I think you can find something useful for yourselves. But for now, let's quickly have a look at the market. So the first one I want to touch on is the FTSE 100. Now we're seeing a nice break here. Below this level that I was talking about in my previous videos, this level right here at around 76.10. So certainly we can see that the price is now trading slightly around, well, slightly above the 7600, and now it dropped below that a little bit, but nevertheless around that area here, the 7600 continues to act as a very key important level here. Certainly we can see that we had a nice drop here already today towards this 50 EMA initially, but then we fell slightly lower here, broke the level of 75.65 and managed to reach the 75.55 mark. So but we can see that the bulls kicked in and drove the index back towards this area right here. Certainly the question here is this enough? Is this enough for the bulls in order to kind of more bulls to jump in, let's say like that, or actually the bears are going to continue dictating this and we're going to see another slide to the downside here? Certainly for now we are aiming again for this 75.65 mark. It could be a good area to watch. If we get a nice break below that and especially a close below that area, well, I mean, we could end up moving towards this 74.90 area that I've got marked here. Certainly a very good area to watch. Slightly below that we do have the 200 EMA passing through. For now, of course, stay cautious. Let's see how this day is going to close. Certainly we are not far from this key area that I was talking about, the 76.10. If we suddenly get a move back above it, well, I mean, we could end up moving higher again here, maybe a little bit higher towards this rising resistance, upwards moving support line that was running here from mid-May. We could end up testing that from underneath, but for that, of course, we would need to see a nice close here above the 76.10. For now, of course, this is looking more bearish than bullish, and we could end up moving lower again, maybe even towards this 50 EMA, or even actually the 76.65 mark for another test of it. If we do get a close below, well, around that area and below this 50 EMA, well, this could continue look ugly for this index, and we could end up moving lower tomorrow. So looking at the DAX, and of course DAX is performing slightly better than the FTSE. Certainly it met its support here at around this 12,600, sorry. Good area of support here. We can see that it continues to act as a very strong area of support. For us to become more bearish on this one, we would need to see a nice break and actually preferably a close below this area in order to kind of consider a drop towards this level here, the 12,450. Good area to watch. But for now, of course, we can see that DAX created a gap here today. If this continues, if the bulls continue to push higher, certainly we could end up closing this gap, maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow, something like that. We could end up seeing the index going back towards this new area that I've got highlighted now, the 12,785 mark, approximately there, which which also coincides with the 200 EMA. So this area could act as a very good area of resistance initially, but if we start breaking it to the upside, well, this opens the path towards the 12,920, or even actually back to the psychological 13,000. Certainly for now, guys, keep a close eye on this one. I doubt that we're going to see much activity here today. Maybe this is something for tomorrow, and if we do make a move higher, like I said, we could end up closing this gap. Certainly for now, stay sharp. A break below the 12,600 could open the path towards lower levels. Looking at gold, and gold is at an interesting spot here. I was talking about this when I was telling you guys to keep an eye on this upwards moving trend line that has been running here since July 2017. Certainly very important line to watch. We can see that today we already had a small break through this, but then the bulls managed to push back gold above it, and now we're kind of trading slightly around it, around this trend line. And let's see, of course, where the day is going to close. If we're going to get a close above this trend line, well, we could maybe see tomorrow, we could see maybe a bit of a retracement back to the upside. Certainly initially we'll be aiming for this 1282.5 mark, but if that doesn't hold, well, it could open the path towards this 1290 area. So very good area to watch here, guys. Certainly, but we will only consider that level if we get a nice break here above the 1282.5. On the downside, well, if we do get a close here below, if we do eventually get a close here below this upwards moving trend line, I mean, this is not looking good for gold, and we could end up moving slightly lower. Now, certainly we do have this area here, the low that we had in December 2017, the 1237 approximately there, as a next potential area of support. But I mean, that's quite a big of a jump, let's say, for gold to make. So probably looking at the more shorter term picture, we could start aiming for this area right here at around 1264. Very good area to watch here. Certainly this has been marked by the lows that we had here in October, on October 26th. That's the level here, and certainly very good area to watch here, if this is going to stay, if gold is going to stay below this upwards moving trend line. Looking at silver, also following the footsteps of gold, certainly dropping kind of with a more, let's say, severe selling here. And certainly we're at the moment we're testing this key area here, the 16.30 to the 16.32 mark. Let's see if it's going to act as a good area of support, or if we're going to actually break it lower and we're going to end up testing this bottom side of the triangle formation that we're seeing here on the bigger picture. Now, very good area to watch here as well. Certainly at the moment this is not really looking healthy, let's say, and we could end up moving lower here and touching this lower side of the triangle formation. So I would recommend to stay cautious. If we do get a break here below this, certainly for us to become more bearish on this one, we would need to see a close below this, below the lower side of the triangle, because as you can see here, twice we had last week we had a overshoot through this upper side, but we never got a close, and then this is where the precious metal kind of sold off since then. So the same story applies to this side. Of course, if we're gonna get an overshoot, we might get something like that. We could end up testing this lower bound of the Bollinger Band, but of course keep a close eye on the close, especially. Looking at the US oil now, and US oil is in the selling mode today, and of course we're moving now closer towards this key area, the 64.10 mark, that acted as a good area of support. Now if we do, certainly I doubt that we're going to get a break here below, but if we do eventually get a break here, then well, keep a close eye on this next key area of support at around 61.90 mark. Slightly below that we do have the 200 EMA approaching that, but of course let's not over speculate here, and let's first see what it wants to do with this 64.10 mark. On the upside, for us to kind of become more bullish on this one, we would need to see, well, not only a break here above the 66.70 mark, but also actually seeing this commodity closing above this upwards moving trend line again, and which could actually indicate that, well, the downside is kind of slightly off the table then, and we could start aiming for higher levels. So of course, for now, stay sharp here. We can see that the commodity is trading within this range right now. It will be interesting to see which way it's going to break through, but at the moment, of course, judging by this bigger picture, because WTI is kind of below this upwards moving trend line right now, the sentiment is more to the downside rather than the upside. Let's have a quick look at the DXY now. So DXY continues to push higher. We had a nice bounce here from the 94.65 area, and we're now testing this area, this quite important area of resistance between the 95 mark and the 95.15. Certainly we can see that we had an overshoot here above the 95.15, but then the bears managed to push it back here below that level, and now of course we're stuck here in this zone. Continue monitoring this one, of course. For us to become more bullish on this one, we would need to see a nice close here above the 95 mark, 95.15 mark, of course, and then we could start aiming for this 95.50. A very good area to watch here, the 95.50. Certainly it acted as a good area of support here in June 2017. Certainly continue monitoring this one, because at the moment, to be honest, the DXY is looking more bullish than bearish. Looking at the euro dollar, and you probably understand what's happening with the euro dollar. It's selling off today a little bit, and again we're testing this upwards moving trend line, this long-term upwards moving trend line, and of course today we saw this little overshoot here. We saw a break below the 115.450 mark, but then the bulls managed to drive this back higher again, drive it back above this upwards moving trend line. And of course, now the question here is, where are we going to stay today? Are we going to close above it, or are we going to close below it? So certainly continue monitoring this one, guys. If we stay above this, or let's say very close to this upwards moving trend line, then we could see something like tomorrow's daily candle opening slightly below this. I mean, this could be another bearish signal for this pair, and we could maybe see another slide lower tomorrow. But for that, of course, we would need to see something like a close just bang on the line here, so that tomorrow's candle could open and move lower. For now, certainly we're keeping a close eye on this. If this is going to stay above, and let's say the bulls are going to manage to drive it slightly higher here, there could be a chance that we could see maybe a push towards this area right here, the 116.50 mark. Again, we could start testing that level again, and this time probably we could see maybe a break here to the upside. But of course, again, I will probably repeat myself, let's not over speculate on this one, and let's see where it wants to close today. Let's quickly touch on a few other pairs until I ran out of time, and the one that I really wanted to touch on is the USD JPY. And certainly this morning when I was talking about it, this one, and it was trading below this lower bound of the rising channel. Certainly we can see that the bulls managed to push back a little bit, pushed back above this 21 EMA. Still, of course, we're slightly below this lower side of the rising channel. If we stay and we close around this area today, certainly tomorrow's candle, you'll probably understand that it will close outside of this rising channel, and we could maybe tomorrow see a continuation here to the downside, and eventually a test of this upwards moving trend line here that's running since around 26th of March. Very good area to watch. If this line starts breaking as well, we do have some good levels of support here at around 109.20 and the 109.0. So keep a close eye on it. Certainly keep a close eye on today's close. If suddenly something spectacular happens and we manage to move back into this rising channel and we close above, or let's say we close around this area, around this 200 EMA, well, I mean, this could be maybe a sign of a small sign of some bullishness coming back in into this pair, and we could maybe see a reversal and a move back higher. But of course, before we see this, at the moment, just judging by the current picture, we can see that the pair is slightly to the bearish side rather than to bullish. Okay guys, I'll have to wrap it up here. I hope you found this useful. Please join me tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock GMT time, 7 o'clock British Summer Time for my Trader's Espresso, where we're going to have a look at the markets again. But for now, enjoy the rest of the day, and bye-bye.